everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Super Mario Galaxy 1 plus 2 because it turns out there's actually more changes to these games over the originals and yes, even Super Mario 3D All-Stars than Nintendo has previously shown or announced. And I think this is important when we're talking about something that is getting a lot of debate on the internet over the cost of the game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the game is worth your money. I will tell you that for me personally, I will not be buying a copy for myself. Now, a couple caveats there. One, I don't replay a lot of games anyways, so there already wasn't like a huge driving factor to it. And hey, $70, I don't know. I don't own 3D All-Stars either, so I just don't know. I personally don't know that it's really worth it for me. Personally, I would rather just wait for the next 3D Mario game. And there's so many games that I want to play that I'd rather put that money towards. We'll also talk a little bit about the prices of Amiibo as well, because yeah, I'm not happy with those either. However, that doesn't mean Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 is not worth it for some people. That also doesn't mean I won't be buying any copies of the game because, yes, folks, we're going to give away 3 copies of Super Mario Galaxy 1 plus 2, the combo pack, everyone. To enter, all you gotta do is go down to the link down in the description. This is in addition to the 5 copies of Kirby Air Riders we're giving away. Those are 2 separate giveaway links. You can enter down below. I wish everybody luck. And let's dive into the differences. And I got to give a huge credit here to Good Vibes Gaming. In fact, a lot of the footage you're going to see here is basically just their video without their commentary until we get through all of the changes. Now, look, the updates themselves didn't come from Good Vibes Gaming. They actually came from the various websites that have additional information, not just the one here in the US, but the UK website and others. Now, one thing we did know, and we've known this for a while, since the day it came into fruition on the Direct, on Nintendo Switch 2, both Galaxy 1 and 2 will be in 4K in docked mode and 1080p in handheld. Obviously on Switch 1, it's just going to be 1080p. Now, what's really interesting is despite them saying that, all footage of both games to date actually feature 1080p Switch 1 footage, and I think that's interesting because they're not pushing it hard with the Switch 2 version of the game. So a lot of the things we're talking about here with the changes are ones that we're able to notice in that footage and through their website, rather than being able to show you direct stuff from Switch 2. So just note, when you've seen all the trailers out there, you see the footage on the websites, none of it's the Switch 2 version. Very important to note, as I know people out there, well, I saw the footage, doesn't look much crisper than 3D All-Stars, so yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Well, because Nintendo hasn't actually given us 4K Switch 2 footage yet. Now, let's get into the real changes. We all expected the resolution stuff. Pretty easy to do, even with emulators. However, there's additional things done to the game that are pointed out in Good Vibes Gaming's video, including that the textures are indeed redone in Galaxy 1 and 2. Now, we don't know the extent, of course, because we have such limited footage of the game that the textures are redone, but there definitely seems to be some redone textures on the ground. The textures look much better. The circles look in different places on the one planet. One of the opening areas of the game, actually the very beginning of the game, definitely has all new textures on the pavement. It's actually really refreshing to see that they didn't just hey, let's take 3D All-Stars, up-res it a bit, toss it over here, grab Galaxy 2, up-res it, toss it over. They actually did do some texture work in these versions of the game. Obviously, we need to wait for more footage to know how deep the texture work goes, but we do have definitive proof that yes, textures have been improved. And it does say on the website that, yeah, there's improved visuals, improved graphics, and they don't go on to describe what they did. Well, the texture work would be part of that. Now, we can't seemingly tell that there's been any improved modeling work, but we don't know yet because we don't have enough footage of the games to be able to come to that conclusion. Now, they did re-render seemingly the cutscenes. Now, we only have one that they've shown off so far at the beginning of the game, but they did re-render that cutscene, which happened to fix some of the AI upscaling issues from 3D All-Stars version of the game. So they used AI upscaling for 3D All-Stars, including on the cutscenes, but that created some ghosting and some other artifacts going on. That is not present in this 1080p Switch 1 version that's coming in this combo pack. So that's just important to note that, hey, they did take the time to actually do that rather than just give us a straight port of what they've already put on the system. Now, they also changed the aspect ratio of those cutscenes, and I guess it's to make it feel, I don't know, more like an IMAX effect. It kind of beats me, but you can obviously see it in the comparisons. They definitely changed that aspect ratio, and I think that is good. They added assist mode, which has never previously been in the games, even on 3D All-Stars. And that assist mode seems to be very similar to the way it worked in Mario Odyssey. I think for some people that is going to be a very welcome addition. They added new chapters to Rosalina's picture book for Galaxy 1. They did announce that. But what they didn't tell you is that there would actually be an entirely new picture book tale for Galaxy 2. We found that out through the website. So they actually added a whole new tale to Galaxy 2. I think that's really fascinating, and I don't know why they didn't talk about that in the Direct. But hey, that's some additional information. There's also a soundtrack option for Galaxy 2 where you can play the music. 72 tracks are included in that. And for Galaxy 1, they have 82 tracks. Now, all of this to me is really interesting, and I gotta say that once I go through all of that, it does seem like there's been a bit more work put into these games than initially thought. I think most of us kind of figured, and myself included, that they just took Galaxy 1 from 3D All-Stars and paired it with Galaxy 2, which they threw in the exact same emulator with the same sort of AI upscaling, and here you go. There's mouse mode as well. I didn't know that I needed to mention that. I think they brought that up in the Direct, but if they don't, they added mouse mode support. I gotta say that I think Nintendo has done a little bit more with these. Does that make them worth the $70 or the $40 each? Look, not to me. They would have probably had to have charged $40 overall for me to even consider this purchase. $20 each. That's kind of what we thought with 3D All-Stars, right? 3 games, $20 each. I know Nintendo probably didn't value it that way. They probably valued Galaxy 1 at $40 and the other games at $10 each. I have no idea how Nintendo values that stuff. It's just a guess. But in the end, I didn't buy 3D All-Stars either because I don't have a lot of interest in replaying games that I've already beat multiple times in their original form. That said, if these are like full-on remakes, that's a little different because you're bringing enough new that makes me want to maybe revisit that game. Right now, what they're doing with Galaxy 1 and 2, although these are definitely much better than what we thought they were doing with the games, new textures, like that is something that we didn't know they were doing. That's just not enough to really entice me. Now, for people that want to replay it and have like the definitive version of the game, yeah, this is obviously probably for you a must-buy game. We have affiliate links as well down below if you guys want to go ahead and get your pre-orders in. I know that they were sold out originally for a little bit. I think there's been some restocks, and there might be more restocks coming for pre-orders. Seems like Nintendo was kind of gauging interest in the initial pre-order wave, and now they're releasing more pre-order waves. So just kind of pay attention to that. If it says it's sold out right now, check tomorrow. You never know. It might just pop back in stock because, again, Nintendo's testing the waters to see how many, especially the physical copies, that they should be making. Now, setting that aside, prices have been a big thing coming out of this Direct, as they were coming out of the last big Switch 2 Direct, after we learned all the pricing of the accessories, the system, the games, etc. And this time around, the other price controversy appears to be just about the Amiibo. The Amiibo are obviously very expensive. They went up in price quite a while ago. So seeing the $30 and $40 Amiibo didn't shock me as much as the $50 Kirby Air Riders Amiibo. And again, I'm probably not buying any of these Amiibo. Now, I don't buy all the Amiibo anyways, despite having some behind me. But it's just kind of, look, there's so many games I want to buy. I just don't have the extra funds. You know, I'm not unlimited money bags over here to just buy all the Amiibo I want to buy. I will note, yeah, if I was rich, like, you know, kind of had FU kind of money, yeah, I'd probably buy all the Amiibo because I do think all the Amiibo are really cool. But I also would remember that I don't live in reality. Money's different for someone who has FU kind of money than it is for somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck, right? So I totally understand because I've lived a majority of my life paycheck to paycheck. So even if I had FU money and would buy it anyways, I still could note this is a really bad value for most consumers. And I'm very curious to see how well these Amiibo sell. I could see some people picking up maybe one Amiibo for Metroid rather than all of them. I can see people maybe skipping the Kirby Air Riders Amiibo. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, they are also like collectibles. And if you think, you know, hey, it's a $50 collectible statue from Nintendo official, I guess, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you otherwise. We spend a hell of a lot on the Nintendo Lego sets, right? So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that like this isn't something some people will buy, but it's just not for me. I'm not going to label it as greedy. There's a lot of things that go into these price points, all the tariffs and everything. I don't really want to talk about that. Same with like the Virtual Boy headset. Like it's $100 here, but it's cheaper other countries because they don't have the tariffs. I stay out of that. The bottom line is the prices are what they are, and you're either going to find value in it or you're not. But I wanted to make sure that just because I'm not going to be picking up these games, I know people are excited. I've seen some of the excitement online, and I wanted to make sure I delivered the latest updates on the games. I don't think we're going to see too many more updates on it from here besides some new trailers, because again, we know what these games are, and they're not making like major significant content additions like new worlds and planets and stuff to kind of visit or like new characters to play. They're not going that far with this stuff, so I don't think that there's any like exciting other things to talk about after this update beyond, hey, here's a new trailer and here's a new comparison of what it looked like compared to 3D All-Stars for Galaxy 1 and just compared to the original release on Wii. It's really all we can do until the games come out. They do come out very early next month. We're not too far away from release, so there's that. That's going to do it for this video, though. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully I'll catch you at our live stream tonight at 8 p.m. Central. Catch you in that next video. Otherwise.